Let's get more on a different tech stock that we are watching this morning. Coinbase has disclosed a hack that is expected to cost the crypto exchange $400 million. Hackers gained access to customer data that includes names, date of birth, addresses, and government-issued ID numbers. Shares are rebounding. You could see there in the pre-market after dropping yesterday on the news in the last session. Joining us for more is Bloomberg's Tom Mackenzie. And Tom, $400 million of a loss, that's not really that much. It's a drop in the bucket compared to some other hacks. But why is this notable for Coinbase?
Yeah, look, 400 million, as you say, is not insignificant as a number, but compared to previous hacks, we had about $2.2 billion in terms of crypto-related hacks just in 2024 in total. It isn't a huge number, but it's the impact in terms of the brand around Coinbase, which, as you know, Danny, has been that poster child in terms of pushing crypto into the mainstream, being the first publicly listed crypto exchange, of course, lobbying to get crypto-friendly lawmakers into Washington, D.C., into positions of power. Recently added, of course, to the S&P 500 as well in the last 3 days. And also, and this is crucial, the custodian of 122 billion US dollars, almost the entirety of that, the custodian of much of that is held and looked after by Coinbase as part of their prime offering for those ETF exchanges, for those institutional investors. Now, none of that was affected. That was not impacted. The prime part of the unit and the business was not impacted by this hack. But details were passed on to these hackers, were gained by these hackers, as you say, from their customers, including at least one high-profile, high-net-worth individual that Bloomberg is not naming. And essentially what they were doing, these hackers, was bribing customer representatives in India to pass on information, again, including IDs, including names, addresses, and then trying to use that, the hackers trying to use that to pressure and trying to get access to other financial institutions to try and get access to their banks and their details. Coinbase is saying they're going to be reimbursing any customers affected, and they're also offering a $20 million bounty that would lead to the arrest and detention of these hackers. They're reimbursing their customers, but clearly this is a big dent to the reputation of Coinbase.
Tom, to that point, because you talked about how at the start of this year there was so much enthusiasm for crypto for companies like Coinbase spending on lobbying. There was even a New York Times story yesterday pushing back against maybe some of those efforts, with the SEC apparently investigating whether they misstated their user numbers. Just how different of an environment is this for the Coinbases of the world, for crypto in general, versus where we thought we would be at this time when we had the election of Donald Trump?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question, because you had those changes at the top of the Securities Exchange Commission, of course, as the crypto lobby had pushed for, as the crypto industry had lobbied for. Those changes have been put in place, so it's a more crypto-friendly environment. Of course, President Trump has done his bit as well to tout the crypto industry and making certain moves there to try and support the industry and make the US that home, that global hub of the crypto industry. So those changes are real, and we can expect those to continue. And of course, Bitcoin itself is still at around that $100,000 level, so a level that many skeptics would have poured scorn on just a few months ago. That's where we are in terms of the price gains coming through. But the anonymity of those users, the fact that this is all done, of course, on the blockchain, that has always created a problem in terms of how they deal with hacking and how they deal with cyber risks. And Coinbase is just the latest reminder. Again, $2.2 billion last year in total, according to some analysis.